Sometimes the best revenge is letting people dig their own graves. I'm David Chen, and this is the story of how my arrogant brother-in-law learned that appearances can be deceiving, especially in the corporate world. I never liked Mark Thompson from the moment my sister Amy introduced him 5 years ago. He was everything I wasn't: loud, flashy, and obsessed with status. As a mid-level manager at GlobalTech Industries, one of the largest tech companies in the country, he never missed an opportunity to brag about his position or mock others he deemed beneath him. But let me start from the beginning. I graduated from MIT with degrees in computer science and business management. While my classmates chased fancy titles at startups, I had a different plan. I wanted to understand business from the ground up, literally. So I took a job as a security guard at GlobalTech. "You're wasting your potential," my parents said. "David, you could be making 6 figures right now," my sister Amy argued. But I knew what I was doing. During my night shifts, I studied every aspect of the company. I learned the maintenance crew's names, understood the cleaning staff's routines, and most importantly, I watched how different departments operated after hours. The real culture of a company shows itself when executives think no one's watching. Then Amy met Mark. He was everything our immigrant parents wanted in a son-in-law: successful, ambitious, and most importantly, he had an impressive title: Regional Sales Director at GlobalTech, the same company where I worked as a mere security guard. Their wedding was exactly what you'd expect: lavish, overpriced, and designed to impress. Mark invited half the executive team, making sure everyone knew he was well-connected. I sat quietly at the family table, watching him network. "And what do you do?" executives would ask me politely. Before I could answer, Mark would cut in with a laugh. "Oh, David? He's one of our security guards. Keeps the building safe at night, right, buddy?" The condescension in his voice was unmistakable. But I just smiled and nodded. I had a plan, and it was working perfectly. You see, while Mark was climbing the corporate ladder through golf games and brown-nosing, I was learning everything about GlobalTech's operations. During my night shifts, I'd write detailed reports about inefficiencies I observed, potential security risks, and ideas for improvement. I submitted them through the company's anonymous suggestion system. Slowly but surely, my recommendations started getting implemented. Security protocols were updated. Workflow processes were streamlined. Cost savings mounted into millions. The CEO, Richard Martinez, became increasingly curious about these brilliant anonymous suggestions. But to Mark and my family, I was still just a security guard. Every family gathering became an exercise in humiliation. This Thanksgiving was no different. We were all gathered at my parents' house, and Mark was in rare form, having just received a promotion to vice president of sales. "You know, David," he said loudly as we sat down to dinner, "there's an entry-level sales position opening up. I could put in a word for you. Better than wasting your life as a rent-a-cop." My sister Amy giggled nervously. "Mark, be nice." "I'm being nice," he protested. "Just trying to help family move up in the world. I mean, just a security guard? Come on, where's your ambition?" My mother looked down at her plate, embarrassed. Dad tried to change the subject. But Mark wasn't done. "I mean, what do you even do all night? Watch cameras? Check doors? Must be really intellectually stimulating." I took a sip of water and smiled. "It has its moments." "Well, don't expect to ever see the executive floor," Mark laughed. "Unless you're checking the locks." Little did Mark know, I'd been on the executive floor plenty of times, just not in my security uniform. Those anonymous reports had led to private meetings with the CEO, who was very interested in my unique perspective on the company. What Mark also didn't know was that GlobalTech was about to undergo a major reorganization. Richard Martinez was retiring, and the board was looking for a new CEO, someone who understood the company from top to bottom. 3 months after that Thanksgiving dinner, Mark strode into the boardroom for the annual leadership meeting, expecting to showcase his department's achievements. He was gunning for a promotion to executive vice president, and this was his moment to shine. The room was packed with GlobalTech's top executives. Mark took his seat, straightening his expensive tie and nodding to his allies on the board. "Before we begin," the outgoing CEO Richard Martinez announced, "I'd like to introduce my successor, who will be taking over as CEO next month." Mark sat up straighter, sure that his name would be called. After all, hadn't he been told he was on the short list? "Please welcome your new Chief Executive Officer, David Chen." I walked into the boardroom, no longer in my security uniform, but wearing a perfectly tailored suit. The look on Mark's face was priceless: confusion, shock, and dawning horror as he realized who I was. Some of you may know David from his remarkable work revolutionizing our operations over the past 5 years, Richard continued. His anonymous suggestions have saved the company over $50 million, and his unique understanding of our organization from the ground up makes him the perfect choice to lead GlobalTech into the future. Mark's face had turned an interesting shade of green. Several board members were looking between us, suddenly realizing that the security guard they'd ignored was about to become their boss. I took my place at the head of the table, the CEO's chair. Thank you, Richard. I'm looking forward to working with everyone here. My eyes met Mark's, some more closely than others. The meeting proceeded, but Mark barely spoke. His carefully prepared presentation lay forgotten in front of him as he struggled to process what had happened. Afterward, he tried to corner me in the hallway. David, I had no idea. All those times. I was just joking, you know that, right? We're family. Are we? I asked quietly. Because family doesn't humiliate each other at every opportunity. Family doesn't mock honest work. Family supports each other. I can explain, he stammered. No need, I cut him off. Your performance review is next week. We can discuss everything then. He paled even further. Performance review? Of course. As CEO, I'll be reviewing all executive positions, including yours. I smiled. I've learned a lot watching from the shadows, Mark. About who works hard and who just plays politics. About who treats people with respect and who doesn't. It's amazing what people will say and do when they think the security guard isn't paying attention. David, please. That's Mr. Chen in the office, I corrected him. We should maintain professional boundaries, don't you think? Wouldn't want anyone to accuse me of nepotism. I left him standing there, knowing his dreams of further promotion had just died. But the story doesn't end there. The next week, I called Mark into my office for his review. He came prepared with a thick folder of achievements and sales figures. Before you start, I said, holding up a hand, I want to show you something. I played a video compilation on my office screen. It showed Mark over the years, berating junior employees when he thought no one was watching, taking credit for others' work, making inappropriate comments about female staff members. All captured by the security cameras he'd never thought twice about. As CEO, I need executives who lead by example, I said as he watched in horror. Who treat everyone with respect, from the janitor to the board members. Your numbers are good, Mark, but your leadership style is toxic. Are you firing me? He whispered. No, I replied. I'm transferring you to our new division, in Alaska. Same salary, but you'll be reporting to someone I trust to mentor you in proper leadership. Someone who worked their way up from the bottom and understands the value of every employee. Alaska, he sputtered. But Amy's practice is here. Our whole life is here. Then I suggest you start job hunting. Your transfer takes effect in 2 weeks. Of course, you can always resign instead. He chose to resign, of course. His pride couldn't handle the demotion and relocation. Within a month, he and Amy had separated. She finally saw his true character and couldn't bear it. My parents, who had once been embarrassed by my lowly job, now proudly tell everyone about their CO's son who worked his way up from security guard. Amy apologized for not defending me all those years, and we've grown closer since her divorce. As for GlobalTech, the company is thriving. I implemented policies ensuring every employee, regardless of position, has a voice in company decisions. Our security staff are now part of management training, providing unique perspectives on company operations. And every executive is required to spend 1 week each year working entry-level positions, a policy I call walking in all shoes. Mark occasionally reaches out through LinkedIn, trying to re-establish connections. His profile shows a string of decreasing positions at smaller companies. Turns out his networking skills don't work so well when people know his true character. Last week, I received an interesting email. Mark had applied for a position at GlobalTech, an entry-level sales role, the same one he'd once mockingly offered to me. The hiring manager forwarded his application, asking for my input. I thought about the lessons Mark had learned about the value of humility and respect. I thought about family and forgiveness. Then I thought about all the people he'd stepped on during his climb up the corporate ladder. Position filled, I wrote back. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about getting even. It's about making sure justice is served, lessons are learned, and change happens from the ground up. Just like my journey from security guard to CEO. Mark's last performance review remains in his file. Candidate demonstrates persistent issues with respecting colleagues across all levels. Recommendation: best suited for positions requiring minimal human interaction. I kept my security guard uniform, framed in my office as a reminder of where I started. Sometimes when I work late, I still walk the halls, nodding to the night shift security team. They know me by name, not title, and that means more to me than any executive position. Yesterday, I overheard a new manager mocking a maintenance worker. I stepped out of the shadows, old habits die hard, and asked her to join me in my office. The look on her face when I showed her my old security badge was eerily familiar. Want to guess how I became CEO? I asked. She didn't last the week. Some people never learn that true leadership isn't about titles or corner offices. It's about respecting every person who helps keep the company running, from the CEO to the security guard working the night shift. Mark taught me that lesson, though not in the way he intended. And now, sitting in the CEO's chair he coveted so much, I make sure it's a lesson every GlobalTech employee learns. After all, you never know. That security guard you're mocking today might be signing your performance review tomorrow.